Hey sisters, it's Amy. I have to wear my sunglasses or I'm gonna squint. So I wanted to have a little chat. We all, right, just got home from Sukkot and we had the most wonderful Sukkot. Just wonderful. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about it and give you some encouragement, because there's one of the lessons that I saw played out again is for us all to just bring our gifts, our interests, and our talents and share them with our community. So real briefly, a lot of us were sick in my Hebrew community here. And so at the last minute, our Sukkot plans basically were canceled. We couldn't go where we thought we could go. It was too far. People were too sick. And I am telling you, about just 1 week beforehand, we found a new location that was much, much closer. And for other reasons, it just was going to be much more doable to stay close to home here in Michigan. And so a couple families threw it together, and in the beginning it was just like, just come, there's not going to be any programming, no potlucks, we're just going to be so happy to be together. And I was like, sign me up. That sounds wonderful. And so I signed up, and several other families signed up, and a lot of us started to feel better. And it was just the most wonderful Sukkot. And don't we all say that, right? Every feast is the best one ever. And this one was no different. It ended up not being like nothing, although it's totally okay to have an event or a feast, whatever, a week-long feast with very little programming, and not to have potlucks. We were going to be fine with that. But in the end, we had lots of fun stuff to do, but not too much. You also want free time. Families need some time to go off by themselves for a day, or just have family time alone and things. And so it just turned out marvelous. And what makes these things work, ladies, is the people. It is the people. And I want to encourage you that when you are coming into these Hebrew communities, these Torah-keeping fellowships, that you were called out of the Sunday church for so many reasons. Number one, to bring him glory, because it's nothing of our own doing. And then number two is to love others. And the way we love others is to serve one another. And so I'm just so blessed here with my community that everybody is loving, humble servants. And they're eager to share their gifts and share their talents with one another. And we talk a lot about spiritual gifts, but there's also talents. He gave us different talents and he gave us different interests. And sometimes those change throughout our lives depending on our season of life. But, at our Sukkot, people just said, oh, I'll do this thing or I'll do that thing. And we had like the most wonderful food, the most wonderful activities. So if you're new to Torah, or if you've been around for a long time and you have a new fellowship or something and you find yourself wishing, I wish we had this, or I wish we had that, or I'd be really interested in this kind of an activity or service or food or whatever it is, I want to encourage you, and I've said this before and I'll keep talking about it, is that maybe you are the one who's supposed to start that thing. If you want a late night snack at every night of the feast, maybe you should start that. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but I do recommend, if there's leadership or a host or a hostess or organizers, you should always ask them first, before you implement an idea. But most of the time they're going to say, yeah, go for it. And then you can be the organizer of the nighttime snack. It doesn't mean you have to make and clean up the snack every night, but maybe you're the one who organizes it, and you are the organizer, and you sign up different ladies to take a snack night if that's something that you think would benefit your community. But then again, be careful not to burden other people with your idea. So just do a snack on the night you want to do a snack. And if there's not a snack on other nights, that's okay. People do have their own snacks if they're campers. Or if you wish there was a game time for the kids, make a game time for the kids. Or if you wish your community had a women's Bible study, start a women's Bible study. Don't wait for other people to start the thing when you're the one with the idea. because the Father may have planted that idea and that desire in your heart so that you can give and serve the community. And this is also for you older ladies. A lot of the ladies with young children and stuff, they don't have as much time. But if you're an older lady and you have more time on your hands, start it. You've been around longer than us. You probably know how to do things better than us, and you have great ideas. Start things. I hope I'm getting my point across well. I think sometimes we're timid and we're shy, and we're afraid of stepping on toes, or we're afraid of being thought of as being pushy or something. And I mean, some of us are pushy from time to time, but if you just have an idea of something to start, ask for permission and go for it. And if it flops, it flops. Or if it's just for a season, it's just for a season. And then you regroup and you reevaluate, should I keep doing this thing or should I not? Is it useful? Cooking, I'm talking about all kinds of things, not just programs and ministries, but ladies at our Sukkot, they made all kinds of food and snacks and breakfasts, and part of that is the serving and the cleaning up and the fellowship that happens in the kitchen. There was one lady who said, I don't know what to do. I've not even done this stuff before. How do I get involved? I said, the way to get involved is to hang out in the kitchen. Just find dirty dishes and start washing them and get chatty. And boy, did she. And she was such a wonderful, loving servant, helping wash dishes and fellowshipping with us in the kitchen. It was just, we were all so blessed. And don't you always feel like that when you give, you're the one that gets blessed? I just don't want our community to be like the Sunday church. You know how it is in the Sunday church. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. These Hebrew communities cannot be like that. Most of us have a setup very different. There's no, pastors and leaders and stuff. It's just people. And that means we all have to pitch in and do our part. Even changing the trash bags at these events is a really important thing when the trash gets full. So guys, step in and say, I'll be in charge this Sabbath of changing the trash. I'll be the one to keep an eye on it this Sabbath. And try to rotate that job around. That alone helps the hostess so much. So just think of, what are things that you pay attention to? Well, that might be your thing. Are you a neat and tidy person and it bugs you when the trash is overflowing and you wish someone would change the trash bag? That might be your act of service, because the Father put that desire in you. So use that to serve the community, and what a blessing. There's no job too small in the body of Messiah. We're all, it's made up of pinky toes and noses and all these parts. And if we're not all pitching in, it's not going to work. So I encourage you, when you have an idea, and I'm not just talking about the feast, I'm talking about Sabbaths and all these get-togethers, or you can create more get-togethers. If you wish there was a monthly homeschool field trip for Hebrew kids, start one, or talk to the other moms and say, can we each take turns planning a field trip, and I'll organize who is what and when. And it's work. I know it's work, but if it's something that you really feel is important, and you might have to be the one to get that going. And you can. You don't have to have experience and stuff. I think you just have to have an idea, and you go with it, and you be willing to take feedback and criticism and make your thing better, however big or small it is, and roll with it. We all have something that we can give to our community. All of us. So that's it. Because when I look back at that Sukkot, there are many lessons still for me to learn and that I'm processing. But I also want to encourage you, and that was the number one thing. I was just amazed. It went from no planning, no nothing. Now, we do have some leadership that did a tremendous amount of work, and you know who you are, and we're all so grateful. But also there were so many men and women and teenagers too. I mean, the teenagers were leading worship and stuff. It was just lovely. People just step up and say, I'll go for that. I don't know if I'll be any good at it, but I think that would be a nice thing to have. So I'll try to do that for the group. And what blessings. I mean, just go for it. Don't feel when you have an idea for something and these whispers start coming in your head saying you're not good enough, people are going to think you're obnoxious, people are going to be critical of you, you shouldn't do that, you should let someone else do that. Those might be lies from the enemy keeping you from doing your kingdom work. I talk about this a lot. We have kingdom work to do. And that's different for some of us. Some of us, if you have small children, your kingdom work is that. You can't do a lot of outside activities and stuff. But when you start feeling and hearing those whispers of inadequacy and being a quitter, to be really honest, that is the enemy lying to you. Don't listen to him. Ask your friends, do you think this would be helpful? Could I do this? And you'll be amazed at their answers. They're probably going to say, yeah, go for it. Okay, so listen to your believing friends, be in prayer, be in the word, and listen to that still small voice, not the enemy's voice. All right, I've talked long enough. I hope you guys had a wonderful Sukkot too. I might talk about mine some more. So many fun ideas and stuff. And now I feel like we're in a waiting period for unleavened bread. Bye, sisters.